from these type of songs. He says, making melody, making melody. Here's a verb which corresponds to the noun translated as psalms above. What Paul is saying is that he is saying here is that not only should we outwardly sing and share music, but we should do it in our hearts as well. We are not to let a root of bitterness creep into our hearts as we ponder the wicked world around us. Instead, we are to have the wonderful words of glorifying God in our hearts at all times, welling up in us so that we are not overcome by the world around us. This is what happened. We didn't finish this verse. We got halfway through it, and that's why. That's what happened, because I didn't get this part. I only read this part, and then we had to stop. So it was kind of rushed last week. Okay, so there we are. What Paul is saying here is that not only should we outwardly sing and share music, but we should do it in our hearts as well. We are not to let a root of... Hang on a second. Yes, we are... No. What's that? Yes. We are not to let a root of bitterness creep into our hearts as we ponder the wicked world around us. Instead, we are to have wonderful words of glorifying God in our hearts at all times, welling up in us so that we are not overcome by the world around us. Okay, I should stop right there and talk about that. I'll read it again so you know what I was saying. Paul is saying here that we should not only outwardly sing and share music, but we should do it in our hearts as well. We are not to let a root of bitterness creep into our hearts as we ponder this wicked world around us. Okay, this is something that I probably fail at 4,000 times a day. The world is getting increasingly wicked. It is getting to the point where it's almost maddening to see how things are degrading. It's not just in this nation. I mean, this nation is obviously a nation that is was established on the principles of Christianity. The Trinity decision of 1893, was it? Anyway, it might be 1893, said that this is a Christian nation. Okay, they went through all of the founding documents. It was the longest, most researched judgment ever in the history of the Supreme Court of the United States. And they said this is a Christian nation. And now, if you even say that in a government office, they'll flip out and they'll want you expelled from government service or out of their office because you're a Christian. Okay, and there's wickedness everywhere. But we are supposed to not let that get us down. We're supposed to instead sing to the Lord in our hearts, sing psalms, sing praises. And it's very hard to do when you see these things going on around us. But if you think it through, that what is going on in the world right now is a part of what God said was going to happen. We know that the world is going to devolve into chaos. We know that things are going to become terrible. And you can't expect things to keep going well and then suddenly get terrible. There has to be a degradation of the society. Just like in Genesis 6, then the Lord saw that the world was filled with wickedness. It didn't just happen overnight. It was a process where people very slowly and eventually completely became wicked. So we need to be careful to try to live out Paul's words here.